Okay, we're back. We're at our prompts, and everybody has overwhelmingly and correctly chose Cleatle and puzzles for the first. This'll go nicer than starting with Burns's scenario, I think. So let's see what happens to poor old Cleatle at the hotel, which is about to be sieged by a bunch of Reaper things and a horrible virus that will make everybody susceptible to mind control and lose higher brain function, and a lot of bad stuff is about to go down at this hotel. So let's see what Cleatle does. Chapter 5, They Kindly Stopped for Me, a John Cleatle thriller. Room 431 at the Waits Hotel, 2 in the morning. No, integrate EM over area, no. Cleatle jerks awake. A cold hand grips his wrist. Quiet. What? Shh. Kneel behind your bed. Do not move and do not speak. Cleatle groggily rolls off the bed with a loud thump. Idiot. Ducks behind his bed. The light streaming under the door disappears as somebody passes before the room, blocking out the glare of the hall lights. Jansen levels his pistol. The doorknob trembles. The lock rattles. Pins and tumblers slowly click into place. Climb out the window, now! Go down the fire escape and get help. So like I said, things are going down pretty much immediately. So we gotta immediately get out of here. And you can see our torches are going down. And I have a hunch we can't just leave. Yep. There's a cloaked man down in the alley, several floors down. I don't think I should climb down until I find a way to dispose of him. I think it's safe to step onto the walkway, though. They're covering the exits. This is not good. Alright, so we gotta do something about that guy down there. Like, pick up a television. Wonder why there's all these blank lines. Cleatle drops the television set. After picking up a great deal of velocity over a 4-story fall, it hits the Sorcerer below with a loud crash. Well, that took care of him. And now we can climb down our ladder. Cleatle is... You missed earlier where Cleatle was drunk and talking about the stuff that he's done and how he hates sorcerers. And he's really a horrible person. Cleatle scrambles down the ladder into the alley below. The body of the sorcerer is sprawled on the pavement next to the remains of a television set. That was a narrow escape. He hears footsteps. Somebody's coming. Oh, so now we're using our score for our timer. So unlock dumpster that he won't hide in. Oh, I should probably do something about the body? Yes. Yeah, see? Not dead. Just unconscious. Pity. He removes the sorcerer's robe. As the laws of comic inevitability decree, the unconscious man is wearing polka-dotted boxer shorts underneath. Cleatle grimaces and puts on the robe. A disguise. Cleatle heaves the body over his shoulder and picks up the TV set. Where to put him? Yeah, I don't want to hide in the dumpster. I want to put the body in the dumpster. Ah, yes, the old TV set and Sorcerer in the inventory. Cleatle throws the unconscious Sorcerer into the dumpster. I've heard this city uses trash compactors. Now there's a rude awakening. So Cleatle is just really wants to murder this guy. Do I have to do anything else? Okay, yeah, I guess I have to hang out until time runs out now. That's me. Sorcerer rushes around the corner into the alley. Cleatle neatly trips the sorcerer, then knocks him out. Momentum, gravity, and rotational motion. This is applied physics. This is why Gordon Freeman doesn't talk, because it would all be nothing but this. Cleatle pilfers the sorcerer's robe and hides the unconscious bodies in the dumpster. Now to get help. After a few blocks of running, Cleatle finds a wall-mounted telephone. He glances around, throws off his suffocating robe, and dials the number of Protest Party HQ. The lines are all tied up for the automated fundraising telethon. I'll try the secret extension I found in their files last month. The phone rings in the Central Protest Party office. A secretary answers. Collect call from Mr. John Cleatle. Put him on. Mr. Cleatle? Hello? If you're going to pledge, you shouldn't make a collect call. It defeats the purpose. It's an emergency. Oh, we don't need the money that badly. No. Can you connect me to Mr. Johnson? I'll call him at home. A few rings later. Do you know what time it is? Too late. The ESP has taken the Waits Hotel, and I don't know if anybody else got out. We're aware. Nobody else got out. Octanar has gone in, though. Why? Is he redefecting? I knew we shouldn't have trusted him. He's going in to rescue you. He doesn't know I left? No. And he's keeping his comm unit off, so we can't tell him now. In any case, the people inside the hotel are dead ducks anyway. What? That's the realistic view. The police won't help us, being ESP owned. We don't have any shot at rescuing anybody, and the ESP might leave them alive, so we've got a chance if we just sit tight. We should do nothing? Nothing at all? Any better ideas? I've got a disguise. Oh, so the sorcerers won't flame you. That's right. Because Jansen will shoot you first. If he's alive. If he's alive. Look, we only have some of our leaders in there. Brickles is in a secure, undisclosed location, so he's safe. We'd lose some staff and our science advisor, Metternitz, but that's better than losing a rescue team, too. Metternitz, familiar. I mean, Metterklume. Professor Metterklume, the physicist? The same, but that's sort of moot now, isn't it? You're going to let him die. That's the idea. Let me tell you something. And yeah, I do like the brick pattern here, and the little phone. Professor Metterklume is not a friend of mine, but he is a physicist, and physicists never leave a man behind. I thought that was sea captains. When the A-bomb was tested at Los Alamos, any sane man would have fled to another state. Who stayed? The physicists. Who was there to the end at Chernobyl? The physicists. When Galileo was called before the Inquisition, what did he stand by? His physics. A physicist lives and dies by his work. Nothing else. Not health, not life, not anything. I will not let my colleague fall. Nice speech. But you can hardly expect help from HQ, can you? No point in getting more people killed. We're all in this together, and we will stop the ESP at any cost. The future of human reason stands in the balance, and reason is all that makes us human. Will we be animals, blundering in the dark, or free men, capable of standing on our own? I will fight, and the odds are no matter. I will fight because that is what must be done. I will fight. So are you with me? Are you with me? He hung up. He hung up! Well then, it's me, alone, against them. And there's nothing impossible for the human mind. I have a disguise and a score to settle. Onward to the inevitable. Cleatle tosses on his robe and trudges off. This is where the game really comes together. And each file is a different artist, like I mentioned before. I believe I might have actually had file 1 and 3 mixed up. I believe file 1 is Funk, and file 3 is Robert P. Or it might be the other way around. 2 and 4 are by Nader, and his art style is just immediately obvious, so there's no confusion there. Cleatle adjusts his robe and steps into the hotel lobby, surveying the room. Paneled with faux mahogany and floored with thick red carpeting, the place exudes the class pretension typical of hotel decor. A sorcerer slouches incongruously at the check-in desk, reading a discarded National Spellcrafting. See anything on patrol? Cleatle shakes his head. Ah, well. Prisoners aren't giving trouble. Going smoothly, going well. Patrol's finished sweeps, so you can ramble around a bit till your next shift. Not much to do, though. I wonder what happened to Jansen. I should probably go up to our room and check. There's smoggy old Reddering in the springtime. Potted plant hides neither gems nor torches, nor does it move to reveal a trapdoor. It's just an ordinary plant, and in its own little way, it's very good at it. Got this big comfy chair, couch, big comfy furniture. No need to go in. The ballroom is ESP controlled now, and everybody knows that sorcerers don't have balls. Wow. Cleatle. Cleatle. Leave the ordinary plant alone. It's leading a happy, commonplace life and doesn't need your interference. Locked stairwell. Drink Hexicola. Hexicola, much more popular than its branded name competitor, E-Cola. E-Cola, in your gut, you know it's right. The machine also sells a few other drinks. Do I have any items? Because I am playing the puzzle chapter. I guess not. So I have nothing right now. Could just kick the machine and hope it doesn't fall and kill me. I'm definitely going to get killed by a soda machine. And yes, I died for a can of soda. Oh wow, more puns. Orange Crush. Soda Machine 1, Cleatle 0. Okay, now I need to try it again and see if it's different if I stand on the side. Because I suspect it will be. Yes. Oh, no, still me. Okay, don't tip soda cans. Or soda machines. Don't tip over soda machines. Oh, what's this? Oh, a dollar bill, how convenient. Alright. I think, oh my god, more puns. That window closed too fast, but he definitely said he could have used a stool as a weapon earlier, but it's stool late now. Okay. Money. Is it gonna accept a crumpled dollar bill? No. This is just a cropped DOSBox, and the HUD is just more carefully cropped DOSBox, and the chat is just an embed. These plants are just getting upset with me now. Cleatle creaks open the viewing theater door and peeks in. The seats are packed with pajama-clad hotel guests who stare at a projector screen which covers the far wall. An image of Nyarlathotep flickers on the screen, repeating some of the same words endlessly. You will support the ESP. You will vote for Nyarlathotep. Several Reaper things pace the aisles, waving scythes menacingly, and ensuring that Nyarlathotep speaks to a captive audience. I can't go in there, I'd be caught. The projector room door slides into the wall, revealing a narrow flight of stairs leading upward. Oh, I guess I can't rob the cash register. 386? A game that takes place in presumably 2004? Nothing in here but obscure pieces of equipment. Toolbox, a locked door, and the muffled clicking of the projector. The device looks like the unnatural offspring of a blender and a reel-to-reel tape player. I shouldn't touch it. A marking and projector degausser device. At least that's what it says on the label. I don't have any idea what it actually does. Probably degauzes projectors. Some maintenance worker must have forgotten his toolbox. And get a wrench. So now we got something other than a dollar bill. And a locked door. Do I just beat it with a wrench? I guess not. Oh, I can always go upstairs. Still haven't checked that out. In case of fire use, somebody has crossed out the word stairs and replaced it with front door. Cleatle steps off the elevator at the 4th floor. There's a guard station outside room 411. Why, I wonder. In case of fire, use stairs. Yellow box contains a fire hose and valve that is bolted shut. It was stapled to the plexiglass window. Attention safety inspectors. Although management understands your concern, we request that you keep this wall box bolted. This will continue until the annual convention of the Prank Appreciation Society has adjourned. Last year's members used the fire hose to flood rooms, slipping the hose through the gaps under doors and causing severe property damage. How do you staple plexiglass? That's a good question, Ravenworks. Thank you, the management. Can't get the bolts out by hand. Okay, well, I don't know why we're doing this, but we're definitely doing it. Oh, I guess we're not doing it. Can't unbolt it with the Reaper thing watching. Supply closet, those are always good. Oh, I thought there was going to be like a passage. I guess I just hide in here. Alright, well, let's talk to a Reaper thing and see what happens. It doesn't recognize me, but I can't afford to attract suspicion. Alright, let's check out 411. Or not. Let's check out 431. I think these doors are a little too fast. Well, I just got 10 gems, so something's gonna happen. Cleatle slips quietly into the room. A gray-robed figure stands before what was a television cabinet, delicately pouring and filtering a green solution through the system of heated tubes. A stack of agar gel plates precariously perches near the edge of the cabinet, tilting like a leaning tower of Petri. Taking a few furtive steps closer, Cleatle scrutinizes the figure for any identifying marks. Its back remains turned to him. No need to stare. Cleatle jumps back. Octanar? One moment. He releases a single drop of liquid onto a slide. Yes? What happened here? Where's Jansen? I can give you a definite answer on the first point. The ESP has taken control of the hotel, flooded the ventilation system with the Oberon virus, and taken everybody prisoner. But why the virus? Wouldn't it cause brain damage, like he said? Well, I made a bit of a slip-up there. The test reports did mention a lack of higher brain function in the subjects. But it was tested on rats. They lost no brain function. Because they had no higher brain function to begin with. Well, that's one less problem. That's a weirdly convenient way to explain this plot point. Yes, the only damage the virus does is to destroy the antibodies produced by the immunization against mind control. A counter against a vaccine. The only reason you haven't been hypnotized yet is that minty fresh pill I generously gave you. Which is a counter to a vaccine against mind control. I've long been aware that biological warfare is a terrible thing, but it is only now that I realize that the worst of it is the confusion. Oh, and there are a few more things you should know. More exposition. Just a minor deluge. You know, I think I had more fun in organic chemistry. I'll be gracious and ignore that. Now you are aware that the prisoners who are in the viewing theater downstairs are being held captive by Reaper things, correct? Yes, I think. Now, do you know what a Reaper thing is? I'm not a biologist, I just kill the things. A Reaper thing is a familiar, a sorcerer's pet. So who do these Reaper things belong to? An excellent question. If you can find the person who has been bound to the Reapers, you can destroy all of his familiars at once by killing him. Unless you prefer to use gentler methods, unlikely. Sorcerers have been ducking in and out of room 411 for the past few hours. That would be a good place to start. Thanks. And what happened to Jansen? If he fought back, he's probably trapped in a little bauble. I don't think I heard you correctly. Never mind then, it won't help you to know. One more question. What exactly are you doing? Trying to make a pure liquid version of the antidote I gave you earlier. I hope to get into an aerosol form, find the blower that is being used to disseminate the virus, and use the device to distribute the antidote. Do you know anything about this sort of thing? I minored in chemistry at Reddering U. I am very good with biological laboratory work. It is a sort of magic in itself. Cleatle looks momentarily shocked, but when he speaks next, it is with a newfound respect. Why did you ever become a sorcerer? An obligation, and that is all I have to say. I suggest you get to work, Professor Cleatle. There's hair in the sink train. If I believed in voodoo, this would be a gold mine. Not really. I've taken all the usable ones. Nothing behind the shower curtain. It's a sample of the antidote. Do I just take it, or do I need a container for it? Distillation device. Kicking open a closet door. An ironing board folds from the closet wall. Somebody appears to have left it in the open position. An iron sits on the board ready to be plugged into a nearby socket. Don't need to take the iron with me. If I need to do any ironing, I'll do it here. I'm glad we're making progress on ironing, I guess. Laundry chute. A bit steep to take a ride, though. Shouldn't rifle through Jansen's suitcase, would be a grave breach of privacy, and I don't know the combination. So now I can barge into 411 and find out what's going on. Cleatle vainly attempts to stride casually into the room. Inside, a man in a white lab coat watches a row of flickering monitors as a sorcerer in a dull gray robe watches him. It's Metterclume. What have they done to him? Good evening. Would you call somebody to fix the air conditioning? It's sweltering in here, regardless of the fan, and I generally enjoy the heat, so I can hardly imagine how our mesmerized keeper feels. I feel demmed angry. I have sandwiches if you'd like. Not hungry, hungry. Guard chuckles. He was one of my better jobs, I think. Although he's aware he has been hypnotized, he must not only obey my orders, but oversee the Reapers as well. The brilliance of this is obvious. The Reapers cannot be unsummoned unless he does it himself, or is killed, and any rescuers would be hesitant to kill him. It somewhat defeats the point of a rescue, you see. Dem, 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 and I suppose you think this is funny? Very. You cannot knowingly do anything that would harm the ESP, and thus cannot cure yourself, unless, of course, you happen to do it by accident. Dem. A catch-22, as they say. You're demmed if you do, and demmed if you don't. Are you mocking me? Yes. Not even Metterclume deserves this. I've got to cure him. Can I cure him with a wrench? He's too frail, it might kill him. Box of tissues sits on the table. Metterplume doesn't have allergies. The guard, then. An electrostatic air filter. Screen needs changing. Leave it. I love that the guard just doesn't find anything suspicious about somebody walking into the room and just messing with the air filter. Although I guess he said there was something screwy with the air conditioner, so it does make some sense. Some security monitors. Okay, so there's nothing readily apparent. But it did occur to me that we do have a use for this iron. So I can iron the dollar bill to make it flat. And get a can of Hexa-Cola. Should better not explode and get his inventory sticky. Oh, okay, now I'm starting to remember things. I don't know if I'm so much solving puzzles or remembering from whenever the last time I played this game was, which was several years ago at the very least. Okay. So now let's pour some antidote into the Hexa-Cola. Okay, and I still gotta get rid of the guard though if I'm gonna distribute this cola. So what else do I have? Oh, I have the wrench. Oh, I thought that was going to kill me, so I didn't make any comments about why I was doing it. Okay, so I bashed the Reaper thing over the head with a wrench. And I assume that this is why I get to hide it into the closet. Now his hands are dirty. Okay, so now that the Reaper thing's not watching, I can use the wrench on the hose. And I guess flood the room? So I get to turn the valve on and hide. Order room 404 swings open and a guard runs out. Ah, loose prank appreciation urchin. He runs down the hall to the hose box. I don't know if I'm supposed to leave now or when he gets to the hose. Okay, I guess now, since he's not going to do anything about the hose anytime soon. And triggering this hose event caused the passage downstairs to disappear, which is what that beep noise was. That was the sound of something being destroyed. Layer of water covers the floor of the room and is leaking out of the doorway into the hall. Oh look, it's the hose spraying water. That's great. So now, with the guard out of the room, we can offer him a drink. And that should cure him, at least eventually. And now we're caught. Watching silently as a fireball forms on the guard's fingertips, Cleatle edges away from Metterclume. Show me your face. Cleatle removes the hood. Slowly, a streak of fire creeps across the sorcerer's face. He is smiling. Now, this may have been worth it. It's Mr. Wizard, the Science Crusader. Hello, Cleatle. What are you going to show the children today? That this? The guard releases the fireball, boiling the water 2 feet away from Cleatle. Was impossible? Who are you? Perhaps I should use my public speaking voice. The guard's eyes blaze red, and his voice lowers to a deep bass. I'm your worst nightmare. A sorcerer with the veto. Not yet. Soon. What happened to your charming habit of pausing in mid-sentence? You always did on television. The, evil sorcerer's party is clearly an, hoax. Cleatle lunges at Johnathan and finds himself frozen in mid-motion. Really, are you so surprised? Who else should I trust with such a key prisoner? Oh, Sartorio is a fine agent, but he has no sense of fun. He doesn't melt people alive, he simply kills. You will wish for his ways. You have ruined the indoctrination. What? You really don't know? No. Ha! Your flood seeps through the floorboards and shorted the projectors. For that, I am entitled a bit of revenge, don't you think? Do your worst, if you insist. And I suppose you're going to tell me I'm not going to get away with this? Cleatle is silent. First, I intend to release a far deadlier virus into the hotel. Impossible. A simple matter of turning a T-valve, the blowers will stop spraying Oberon and begin spraying something unpleasant. You'll die. Oh no. The sorcerers, including myself, are immunized. No, you will hemorrhage and flail, as will the remains of the protest party. Send out the order to release the virus. I had wanted to indoctrinate the protests, but they'll die now. Your fault, really. Metterclume turns on the intercom. Attention Reapers, you will assist the Oberon release. You are now. He blinks a few times. Subject to Professor John Cleatle. He dies under the bed. Oh, that's an accent. Falling to the floor as the force holding him is released. It worked! Johnathan vaporizes the intercom unit with a bolt of fire. A setback, then. He'll need to re-geese every Reaper in the building. Boiling lead, I think. As Johnathan begins a series of hand motions, another cloaked figure rushes through the door. The prodigal sun returns. I could hear you from across the hall. This is a hotel, Gnarl. People are trying to sleep. Raises a field of force around himself. Gnarl, I hate that name. Cleatle feels a prickling in the back of his neck. It feels like a lightning bolt is methodically locking onto a target. Strike in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I guess this is becoming a big deal. And Johnathan is wreathed in a mantle of flame. You have betrayed me, Octanar. I was never on your side, Gnarl. Auntie's last words were to keep you out of trouble. I tried. There is a pause, a silence filled only by the hiss of the water extinguishing the bottom of the flame shield. Then a ball of fire forms at the tips of Johnathan's fingers and flies at Octanar. It always comes down to this, doesn't it? Octanar's force field flickers as it bends to dissipate the energy of the fireball. Countering with a bolt of lightning, Octanar struggles to break through Johnathan's flame shield. I've got to take that shield down. Cleatle grabs the hose and sprays a jet of water on Johnathan's fire shield. The flames shrink and die with a hiss. Meddler! He flings a ball of ice at Cleatle, who jumps aside. The ice strikes the hose, freezing it solid. Give up. Your shield has fallen. You wouldn't flame me in cold blood, would you? I'm out of fireballs. The two lock gazes. From their pained expressions, they're in mental combat, and Octanar is losing. If I can distract Johnathan. Metterclume shouts from under the bed. Don't go near him. The water near him is boiling. He's releasing huge amounts of it. But not enough to vaporize anything instantly. Enough to kill. So we got a nice little time limit here. And if we paid attention to when we thought he was just a guard with allergies, we can now take the dust filter Well, if we go near him, we'll be burned alive. Let's see if there's a thing for that. Yes. Cleatle steps into the searing water near Johnathan. It boils him. On the bright side, the heat kills every nerve cell in his body in seconds. Whatever you do, do it at a distance. But the solution's pretty apparent. Let's put the dust screen in front of the fan. Covering his mouth and nose with his coat, Cleatle holds the screen up to the fan. A cloud of dust billows forth, and Johnathan collapses in a sneezing fit. You achoo! Bleeding imbecile! Johnathan pulls a bottle from his robe and throws it at the north wall. Get down! Cleatle dives to the ground as an explosion envelopes the room in smoke. A cursing, coughing figure stumbles out a hole in the wall. How unoriginal. He's going down the stairwell. Stop him before he can release the virus. I'll get help. He's not. This isn't a head cold we're talking about. Stop him. Oh, this is going to be an event, whatever it may be. After chasing Johnathan down at literally breakneck speed down the emergency stairwell, Cleatle stumbles into the hotel basement. Johnathan stands at the far end of the room, leaning on the controls of a bulky machine attached to the vent system. Too late. Sorcerer turns a knob. Cleatle holds his breath. Something is wrong. Somebody has sabotaged the pumps. If I had one flame shot left, one, you would be dead, Cleatle. But you don't, and I didn't sabotage anything. Octanar. Cleatle smiles, and Johnathan stares at a pressure gauge. Ha! The machine still works. It will need time to build up air pressure, but there's an auxiliary pump. It won't take long, and you came unarmed. For shame, Cleatle. Johnathan pulls a wand from his sleeve and aims it at Cleatle, who ducks. A bolt of energy arcs through the air and strikes a hapless spider dangling over Cleatle's head. That was meant to make your head explode. Tosses the wand away in disgust. And then the spider grows. Cleatle jumps to the side, and the spider continues to expand. Its silk line snaps and is the size of a small dog, then a moose, then a Volkswagen. It totters about on its spindly legs, barely able to support its weight, and seems lethargic, slow. But it's still a big angry spider. Amazing how things work out sometimes. Have fun. It's slow. It can't get enough oxygen for its size. I can dodge it. And as Cleatle begins to fight the grotesque spider, the auxiliary pump strains and whirs in the background. Alright, so I guess I'm fighting a giant spider. Or trying to not fight it. Cleaning Snap left a bucket of oil soap here. Cleatle grabs it. Career change, Mr. Cleatle. To throw the soap, press shift and an arrow key. So I only get one shot. Better make it count. And also figure out what the heck the one shot is for. Out of the way! Cleatle's clumsy punch doesn't make the sorcerer blink. All muscle, of course. The end of the blower is covered by an impenetrable casing. Controls are on the other end. So what do we got? Yeah, wrench and oil soap. I'm guessing that making the spider bite him is what I need to do. But I guess I would need to make him slip towards me? Let's see what happens if I just stand here and try the oil soap. Oh, that's right, I need to just shoot. The glob of oil soap splashes on the spider and drips under its feet. Slipping wildly, the creature loses its footing and collapses into the puddle, which promptly seeps into its book lungs. The arachnid suffocates quickly. Pathetic. Oh, well, so much for that. The spider died with its mouth open, and its fangs, large as butcher's knives, glint in the dim light. Okay. The spider won't bite him. But I can. Cleatle fixes the wrench around the base of a fang, pulls and twists. After a struggle, the fang comes loose. Cleatle swings at Johnathan with a fang, but he easily dodges it. It's a deadly weapon in the right mouth, but a clumsy one in the wrong hands. Well, okay. If... Well, it says it's an impenetrable casing, so this probably won't work. Yeah. I better figure out what I'm doing very quick. Oh, I still have soap. Oh, or maybe not. With a loud hiss, the blower begins to spray its head exploding viral payload. It's kind of like popcorn, really. Okay, so we got the fang again. Okay, so yeah, I can refill. I didn't notice that I refilled it earlier. Okay, that didn't do anything. Oh. No. Can't attach it. Alright, well, I have it paused. I think I'm gonna die again. So I'm trying to figure out what else there is to do. Soap the machine. That didn't seem to do anything. Right, do I have an earlier save that's still in this cutscene? Yes. The last time I shot soap at him, it just said that like didn't do anything. Unless it actually like checks for it being on the side. All right. Yeah. Grab the oil soap. Kill the creature. Wrench its fang. Okay. Now I have plenty of time to think. What am I missing? Oh, do I have to... It won't let me leave. Do I have to try to punch him before it'll let me try the fang? So the fang still doesn't work. Oh, there we go. I never tried to wrench him. As Cleatle raises the wrench, Johnathan waves a small rod at it. The metal bends around and the wrench wraps itself tightly around Cleatle's fist. Wand of ultramagnetism. That's the end of your cudgel, Mr. Cleatle. So now, perhaps I have a big heavy arm with a wrench wrapped around it. Oh, let's try doing this now. Can I do something with the mop now? There we go, wrench again. Good call. Cleatle gives Johnathan an uppercut, weighted by the wrench wrapped around his fist. There's a sharp crack. Ah, my fingers! Ah, my jaw! Johnathan looks punch-drunk and less sure-footed. Okay, and now that he's staggered, we go in with the spider fang. Dizzy from Cleatle's punch and unable to dodge, Johnathan doubles over as Cleatle jabs him in the stomach with the fang. He totters sideways. He falls to the ground. With his good hand and his little remaining strength, Cleatle wrenches the T-valve to the right. Then the needle on the pressure gauge hovers and then falls slowly. Well, that's done with. He staggers a few steps, then slumps on the floor. A few minutes later, Octonar enters the room, followed by Jansen. Upon seeing Cleatle and Johnathan on the floor, the sorcerer darts across the room. Jansen quietly leans against the wall. Are you going to help? I would rather not. If I were to mistakenly injure one of them, a lawsuit could result. Ah, a good Samaritan. Taking Cleatle's pulse and examining his badly swollen hand. His hand might be broken, but he's alive. Taking Johnathan's pulse. Weak. It's ready. He's in shock. Jansen gestures to the body of the spider and the fang in Cleatle's hand. Get the epinephrine now. He's allergic to stings. Jansen walks away very slowly. Perhaps. I hope your pack ratting has come to good use. He rifles through Johnathan's robe. Dead fish, hammer, coin, piece of twine, wand of identification. Come on, he has to have a healing potion here somewhere. Epinephrine. Octonar pulls a syringe of epinephrine from Johnathan's left sleeve and jabs him with it, giving him a full dose. If this doesn't act quickly, he's a dead man. To be continued. Your Disc 4 password is END. So we're almost done. And we go back to more, file 2 and 4 graphics by Johnathan Adair. Johnathan ahead by 98% in polls. Protest Party candidate Brickles remains sanguine and shows Sorcerer solidarity. ESP marches on Washington, D.C., burns parks, monuments, and museums. Time is running out, says Brickles. Accusations of assassination attempts unfounded, states Johnathan. Corporate fraud accusations against theme park giant Sweeneyland drop stock values by 30%. Abracababra theme restaurants announce merger with Roddy's Bar and Grill. Furor over ESP slogan, Johnathan will eat your soul. Johnathan announces plans for International Johnathan Day. Number of lost pets at all-time high. ESP denies reports of midnight sacrifices. ESP announces potential picks for cabinet. Choices include the Dark Lord of the Abyss, Johnathan's astrologer, and Dr. Evil. And once again, this game's ahead of its time. Especially with the Dr. Evil reference. That's very timely today. So this is it. This is how it all ends. And our password is END. And the other passage is if we had picked Cynthia Burns' storyline, hers is all in File 4. So File 4 for Cleatle is going to be very short, and in fact is nothing more than an ending. On the 11th floor of Reddering General Hospital, in the evil Sorcerer ward, a grey-robed figure lies in a dingy hospital bed. Johnathan, leader of the evil Sorcerer's party and mitre weaver of arcane magics, has been forbidden to leave his bed for a week. You have a visitor, Mr. Johnathan. Send him up. A few minutes later, Octonar enters. The attending physician has informed me that you are in stable condition. You'll be out soon enough. Then I can win. You nearly killed a hotel full of people. True. I saved your life. True. And I am asking you politely, as a brother and as your savior, to cede the election. True. But you never will. True. You tried to kill me. True. You would kill me now if you had the chance. True. And Cleatle will suffer immensely if you catch him. True. Anaphylactic shock has taken the edge off of you. You normally begin to get melodramatic long before this point in the conversation. True. Or you perform your smug villain routine as you did on television. True. I don't understand you, and I really have no idea why I rescued you. You're the most incorrigibly evil man I know. I have charisma. What? And I do barnyard imitations. Remember those? Back at Aunt Circe's? You aren't going to win my symphony with nostalgia. Moo! I'm a cow! Yarnlithole drifts off to sleep, dreaming of sunlit afternoons at the farm, mint tea, and world domination. One week later, Election Day draws near. Breaking news. Upon receiving their sample ballots, several Redding County voters misread the instructions to punch out the result of the candidate of your choice. As a result, Pat Buchanan is in critical condition and is withdrawing from the presidential race. ESP candidate Yarnlithole announced today that the ESP remains undaunted by recent setbacks. Although he did not specify the nature of these setbacks, his statements were received with applause. The Redding Lobsters suffered a 7-3 loss today against television clicks off. Scene, Protest Party HQ. Johnson turns off the television and faces those seated at the table. Reginald Brickles sits at the head of the table, with Burns on his right. Cleatle, now a card-carrying protista, sits next to the horse. Ladies and gentlemen, you've done an excellent job. Following the lead of our new division secretary, Justin Cleatle, we've managed to pass the hairball ballot in every major county through the use of hypnosis. A few members mutter about this. Isn't he the one who knocked out Mr. Brickles? This still doesn't seem like fair play. Furthermore, the ESP is yet to recover from the blow that Miss Burns gave them last week. Not only did she prevent a disastrous epidemic, she destroyed ESP headquarters and the entropy nullifier that was used to generate magic. As a result, the sorcerers have been forced to rely on emergency magic stockpiles. I still don't believe it. Who keeps their secret headquarters in a theme park? From what I heard, she didn't even bring in Sortorio. In short, we've done everything we can. With Buchanan out of the race and the hairball ballot in place, all that's left is with waiting. Nothing else. That's only a 50-50 chance. Yes, but when we began we had no hope at all. And now we have an even shot, and there's nothing we can do to interfere. The future of humanity, wagered on the probabilistic equivalent of a coin toss. That's terrible. Pathetic. Anticlimactic? Yes, that too. Isn't there anything we can do? No. Yes. I'll turn to Cleatle. If you can perhaps, get me a televised debate with Yarnlithole, I'll win it. A stunned silence. Wait, what? A debate? Brickles refuses to do any more debates. I'll be the judge of that, Johnson. Go on, Mr. Cleatle. I'll represent him. Hold on, just a minute there. Now what? I see two options. We may either allow Mr. Cleatle to speak on my behalf, or wait for him to hit somebody else over the head and sneak into a television studio. I don't see why we can't just get him locked up. I mean, the man knocked you out. Johnson, we were both in that hotel. He saved our lives. If there is one thing I have learned in my political career, it's that you always return a favor. Besides, you couldn't do any harm, could it? Johnson and Brickles turned to her. Her expression was completely unreadable. Well, everybody's still, mind-controlled. So, if, they were saying 50-50 is better than just no chance whatsoever. But Cleatle's got a plan, don't you worry. Yes, looks over at Cleatle and back at Burns. He doesn't look like much, but he's probably as dangerous to us as he is to the sorcerers. At least he's committed. Oh, he ought to be. Both she and Jansen addressed the meeting again. It is our position that Cleatle be allowed to debate with Nyarlathotep. Any objections? Wow, even the horse doesn't neigh. I can't believe they didn't go back to that. There we go. It's time for the second debate. The final presidential debate. Cleatle fidgets nervously as the cameras pan over him. In contrast, Nyarlathotep is calm and collected, seemingly unconscious of the glaring lights and the anxious crowd. And so, I wish to inform you, dear voters, that Nyarlathotep is not qualified to be president. He is incapable of keeping his campaign promises. He is running under false pretenses. And how am I running under false pretenses? You claim to be an evil sorcerer, but you can't make a single fireball to back up your claims. A fireball? A mere nothing. A conjurer's trick. Watch this. Nyarlathotep waves a hand airily, and Cleatle's lectern bursts into flames. Spontaneous combustion. Fireball not included. Then Nyarlathotep senses something is wrong. Cleatle is smiling. Did you make my lectern explode? Yes, but I didn't interrupt you, so there's no specific rule against it. There is. Producing a copy of Robert's Rules of Order and leafs through it. Lectern explosion, combustion, no. Nothing in here. The rule exists. The law of conservation of energy. Where did you get the energy for that explosion? That's not relevant. But it is. Nothing in the universe can create energy. You created energy, so you are therefore not of this universe. If you are not of this universe, you are not of this world. And if you are not of this world, then you are not of this country. And if you are not of this country, then you aren't a citizen. And if you aren't a citizen... Cleatle stops to catch his breath. You can't hold public office. Nyarlathotep faints. Get an ambulance. As the camera crew rushes over to help, Cleatle waves them off. Never mind him. He doesn't exist. Epilogue. Citizen Arcane. And on that last word, you don't really get a chance to notice it because of all the windows popping up. But Cleatle's expression and the direction he's looking, there's all these little subtle changes in his appearance as that cutscene plays, which is really cool, but really tough to notice with all the pop-ups. Scene 212B Breaker Street, shared flat of Cyrock Alms and Watsan, 1 week after Election Day. Walks into an apartment, stepping around a cello and a gasogene and slipping on a drop newspaper. Alms, where sees Alms sprawled on the sofa. Not this, Alms, why? Alms stirs and opens an eye. Listen, clicks on a radio lazily. President-elect Reginald Brickles has announced that. Alms moves the dial. And in other news, President-elect Brickles stated that. Alms turns the dial again. Brickles definitely currently enjoys massive popularity, and Alms turns off the radio. We are ruined, Watsan. Alms, you mustn't lapse into one of your moods again. As a medical man, I must forbid it. And what, pray tell, shall I do instead? Life is commonplace, for I am without employment. Give me problems, Watsan. Data to analyze. Without mental stimulation, the world is nothing. But Alms, if the ESP still existed, we would still be trapped in containment spheres. It was the failure of magic that released us. Released us to a pointless existence, Watsan. I am a scientific detective, but even I can grasp the need of the human psyche for miracles. So you'll look for false ones to soothe you. Your addiction. Yes, Watsan, it has returned. And then all is lost. Watsan paces back and forth angrily. I cannot see how one of your powers can subject his faculties to such degradation. Surely you must know how it rots the mind. That is one of its chief attractions. He reaches for a remote control and turns on the television. A video game appears on the screen. Then you were... Yes, even as you entered. I paused it when I heard you ascend the stairs. This is a great deal too much, Alms. Alms turns his attention to the screen and fingers the gamepad. Really, Wassan, I don't see why you make such a bother over this addiction, as you call it. These games provide a great stimulus to the logical mind. They're feebly written, mind-rotting claptrap. Somewhat, perhaps. But to examine them closely without emotional involvement is immensely rewarding. Detachment and utter objectivity are necessary, yes, to avoid the mind rot of which you speak, but they pose no danger to the scientific observer. Wassan sits in brooding silence as Alms continues to play, pushing the keys in a thoroughly regular manner. If a typewriter could play video games, this is precisely how it would. Well, perhaps my prognosis was premature. You can distinguish between reality and games well enough, and you show no signs of that obsessiveness that I have seen you fall prey to. Alms? Doms? Eris. They killed... No! That's a cool Final Fantasy VII joke, in case you didn't get that great reference. Meanwhile, at a castle. Scene, Shangri-La, Gnarlithole's estate, midnight. 2 weeks have passed since the election of Reginald Brickles, and the ESP has all but faded out of the public memory. Gnarlithole has fallen ill. Nobody is willing to treat him, for he has no legal existence, no property, no life, and no followers. Cleatle's logic has reduced Gnarlithole to a legal fiction. At this moment, John Cleatle's legal fiction is dying of tuberculosis. Inside a dimly lit bedroom, Gnarlithole groans on an ill-made bed. 2 books sit on the nightstand. Wilkinson? The door creaks open. A man in the costume of a 19th century manservant enters. Wilkinson, read the passage again. The manservant walks over to the nightstand. He hesitates over which book to pick up. The New Harvard Book of Literary Anecdotes, or the Anthem Book of Major British Poetry. He decides on the first. Well? The manservant opens the first book to a dog-eared page and picks an anecdote at random. When John Keats was a boy, he, carried... Oh, it's you. The manservant is silent. You can take off the mutton chops, I can see well enough, still, and you read the wrong passage. John Cleatle removes a false pair of mutton chops and wipes the makeup from his face. What did you do with Wilkinson? He's, resting right now, at the bottom of a coal chute. In the hall closet. Close enough. Gnarlithole notices that Cleatle is clumsily trying to hide a wooden stake and a mallet behind his back. It's not worth it. I don't know what you're talking about. So you intend to use the mallet for home improvements? Or have you taken up the xylophone? I, picked it up. Someone dropped it in the hall. And the stake. Toothpick. An awkward silence follows. Cleatle fingers the stake in his hand. One quick move and it will be over. He makes his decision. Which passage? What? Which passage did you want me to read? A few minutes later, Keats knew that death was inevitable and called Severn to his side. Shortly after dictating his epitaph, Keats died of the consumption that had racked his body for so long. Gnarlithole is silent. That's all. Yes, ironic. Centuries pass, and I'll die as Keats did, archaically. Modern medicine can't help you if you don't get it. I told them that I was dying, but they said they couldn't treat a legal ghost, an unperson. And now you come to kill me. No. The stake? To be sure that you answer my questions. You're a rotter, Gnarlithole, but I won't kill you unless I have to. Rotter. Is that a technical term? No. I like it. Here lies one whose name was written Rotter. It would be legal to kill you now. You don't exist. You do not need to threaten me, Professor. I have no reason to conceal anything now. Ask your questions. You used the entropy nullifier that ran Sweeney Land to create magic. You said that was impossible. Never mind that. Now, how did you get the nullifier? It was the property of Sweeney Land, so you could have bought it along with the park. But then, how did you acquire Sweeney Land? How was the transfer of ownership covered up? Before Burns discovered the truth, everybody thought that the park was still in Sweeney's hands, and it had closed for repairs. One question at a time. And how did you know about the nullifier? And where were you before the ESP began its campaigning? There's no record of your existence anywhere. Anything else? And above all, why? Why did you wage war on reason and science and humanity? Cleatle sits silently, then speaks. My brother and I were raised on our aunt's farm. One summer evening, Octanar and I were playing chess in a woodshed. Not chasing field mice across an open meadow? No, a shame, really. That would have been more pastoral, wouldn't it? We were 13 at the time. Our Aunt Circe called us indoors and seated us by the fireplace. Octi, Gnarl, she said, I have something very important to tell you. I am a sorceress. We weren't surprised, really. She wasn't aware of it. We had watched her mix potions every Thursday at midnight when she thought we were in bed. In any case, from that day we were raised sorcerers. I was a prodigy. I summoned fays to do the housework and Ginny to do my homework. They're intelligent? Oh yes. The word genius is the singular of Jin. I summoned the angel of death every week to play chess. For your life? For marbles. The stories are wrong. He has more lives than he knows what to do with. But marbles, on the other hand, are pretty. How disillusioning. He's a terrible player. He prefers Chinese checkers. Go on. Aunt Circe died before our training was complete, and we are forced to enter the working world. I kept the nullifier hidden in my closet and became a programmer. A programmer? I had vowed never to touch the nullifier until I had the skill to use it. Programming was as good a field as any to enter while I studied its workings. But how did Sweeney get the nullifier from you? And how did you get it back? One of my early programs had some liminal commands hidden in the code. Users fell into a slavish attachment to it. But I wrote another program after, a far, far better game, and then something happened that made you turn against the world. What was it? The public crucified it. That happens. You don't see. They continued to worship my first game. A cheap, pointless... A pointless what? Cleatle lifts his cowl. A text editor. I wrote a glorified text editor and the world loved it. Yet when I put everything into the most technologically advanced game of the time, they laughed. Tim Sweeney. Unreal was pretty, they said. Pretty dull. Then they went back to play with the text editor. The programmer is beginning to foam at the mouth. So I bided my time, and even raised a little amusement park, to the wretched game. I knew that my revenge would come. Even if my false name were an object of laughter, my true name would be an object of terror. A bead of sweat trickles down his brow. Sweeney visibly relaxes. Forgive the outburst. It happens. I am feverish. This sort of thing happens when I am feverish. Read, please. Keats. To sleep. And so Cleatle reads, Save me from curious conscience that still lords its strength for darkness, burrowing like a mole. Turn the key deftly into the oiled words, and seal the hushed casket of my soul. Cleatle closes the book softly. Johnathan broods quietly for 3 seconds. Then he bursts into laughter. What? This is ridiculous. Amazingly ridiculous. I'm playing Little Nell. What? Oh, you wouldn't understand, but it's ridiculous all the same. He's suddenly racked with coughs. Ridiculous. Johnathan seems very, very tired from his outburst. His illness is overtaking him. Hand me the bauble on the nightstand. Cleatle picks up the blue glass sphere from and places it in Johnathan's hands. It's a globe. Excellent metaphor. There is something I always wanted to say. What? Johnathan's eyes droop shut and he visibly relaxes. What? The globe slips out of the sorcerer's trembling hands and falls to the floor, shattering. Shards of blue glass spatter like raindrops in a puddle. Rosebud. He dies. A joke. That's it? Johnathan's corpse silently reproaches Cleatle. A joke is what it usually comes down to. I'd better go now. And as Cleatle closes the bedroom door with a very final thunk, he feels great satisfaction at what he discovered. Johnathan was evil, yes, but his evil had a reason to exist. That's the important thing. Images flashed through John Cleatle's mind. His lab, grown dusty and dim soon after his resignation, his graying thin hair, the now yellowing, rambling thesis he wrote so long ago, full of the sound and the fury and dreadful, unnecessary ellipses. The television appearances as a scientist for the layman, a talking head. When the ESP rose to power, John Cleatle left behind a barren scientific career. When there was something to fight, he was a crusader. He could do no wrong. It didn't matter that nobody even wanted his lab space after he vacated it. He was a hero, a mad, glorious hero. Can I go back? Can he go back to the past, to the life he left behind, far past his prime? Can he learn to cultivate an open mind, to stray from the path of scientific orthodoxy and make revolutionary discoveries? Can he even think in original manner, rather than better himself with rhetorical questions like the Byronic hero of a cheap trade paperback? My research is waiting. He drives into the night. The end. A disheveled man in a top hat bangs at the window of his cell in the Reddering State Penitentiary. I'm telling you, I don't know why the alarms went off. It was my tape recorder. My tape recorder! Credits. Design and writing, Johnathan Wellington Wells. Programming, Johnathan Wellington Wells. Additional programming, Funk. Graphics, Disc 1, Funk. Disc 2 and 4 is Anthony Dare. Disc 3, Rob P. Additional graphics, Johnathan Wellington Wells. Music, coded by Johnathan Wellington Wells. Look Into My Eyes, lyrics and music by Johnathan Wellington Wells. Sartorial Battle Theme, music by Johnathan Wellington Wells. All other music composed by Sir Arthur Sullivan. Beta testers, Funk, Mad Tom, Dr. Doss, Master Rays, Raceland, Sarin, Cat Fried Rice. Lads of the Sea is tops, and so it ends. my shortcut key for unmuting mysteriously stopped working there. And I had to actually click the unmute button. And what did I just say? Oh yes, that was Evil Sorcerer's Party by Johnathan Wellington Wells, as you may have guessed by those credits. It's one of ZZT's best. It's just extremely well written. It's got a lot of humor. The graphics in each file are really distinct, but all some of the best that you'll see in any ZZT games. The music is the best. I'm not doing a good job of saying why these things are the case. I'm just falling back on like 10 out of 10, best game, good game, great game. But it really is. And most ZZT games, they were never trying to be on the level of a commercially published game. And I think as a kid, I always thought that was like the ideal for somebody's game to feel professional and feel like it was made by a big company. And most games never came anywhere near that. And these days, I don't see that as a bad thing whatsoever. What ZZT let people do. But if you are going into ZZT looking for traditional ideas of what a quality game is, then I really don't think anything can compare to this game in terms of quality. It's about as professional as ZZT can get. And yeah, like Ravenworks is saying, which it came out on an engine that people have known to take seriously. This is a game that I'm sure tons and tons of ZZTers played, although apparently not David N., who was here earlier. He needs to go back and play through the whole thing himself. But as is always the case with ZZT games, outside of a small collection of 100, give or take, people at a time, it's just nobody has seen these. And in the case of Evil Sorcerer's Party, they really missed out. And that's why I do these videos and articles and all this stuff, because I want people to see these. Maybe they're not all Evil Sorcerer's Party level of quality, but there's a lot of just unique and interesting ideas out there that only ever came to fruition because of the ZZT and what it let people do. So, thank you all for watching. I'll end up doing, maybe on Sunday, one last stream, because we do still need to see the Cynthia Burns scenario. And the endings do eventually merge, so there's not going to be like a big surprise. But we'll get to see what happens to her. And then I actually have to go through the text file that this game comes with, because it's massive. I mentioned it having a walkthrough, and that's cool. But it also has like trivia and little odds and ends, suggestions for content that you might have missed in playing the game. Like, we dropped a TV on a sorcerer's head from that hotel room earlier. There's like 4 different solutions to that room, and the TV is just like the obvious one. But if you mess around with this game, there's all sorts of little details and references to Gilbert and Sullivan plays, which I know nothing about. There's a ton to this game. It's such a labor of love, and it's the little indie game that actually came out with all of its promises. My game's going to be this massive epic story, and it's going to have all this cool content. We were praising like the songs in this game and how good they are. There's lyrics to cut songs. There's discussion on how originally the game was intended to be a musical. There were supposed to be constant songs, but space and the difficulties in writing lyrics and things to synchronize to ZZT music just made that unfeasible. But there's so much more to this game that we still haven't even seen. So I want to try and take a look at the rest of that. And most likely that'll be Sunday. If not, it'll be later. But thank you all for showing up. I hope you all enjoyed watching this, and I hope the many people who showed up for the final part we're able to kind of follow it, because it's probably a bit confusing if you jump in like halfway through the game and have no idea what's going on with these sorcerers. And I will leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Until the next stream.